One of the great uses of having a Cricut is to make personalized greeting cards, and there's many different techniques. Let me share with you my top 5 greeting cards that you can make in minutes using your Cricut. In the comments, share with me which one is your favorite. Let's get started in Design Space.
Please subscribe and ring the bell.
Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Valentine's Day pop-up card from scratch that you can customize to say anything that you want. So the first thing you want to do is open your Cricut Design Space and open a new canvas. The first thing I'm going to do is type in the text, and I'm just going to say, "Be mine." And then I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to change my font to something big and blocky. And I'm going to make this bigger just to make it a little bit easier to get them lined up. Then I'm going to highlight the words and I'm going to ungroup them so I can move them around. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the B and the mine a little bit where they are touching each other and it's centered, and then I'm going to add a heart here over the E and the N to help give it some stability. And I'm actually going to make this a little taller and slide that down. Okay, now I'm going to highlight these and I'm going to hit weld, and that is going to change them all to the same color and stuck together. So then when it cuts, it will not be cutting in between the B's and the M's and all the different letters here. Now the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to do 2 squares, or you could duplicate the squares. So now we're going to want to make 2 rectangles, and I'm just going to use normal cardstock. So I'm going to make it maybe 8 1/4, and I'm going to start out at around almost 4 inches. And this is where you just kind of play around with things. So I'm going to make this slightly smaller. And actually I'm just going to take this one and duplicate it. So they need to be the same size. Okay, so now you can see that it is slightly too big, so I need to make this just a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to move that up. I'm going to erase this one and duplicate the top one again so they're the exact same size. And perfect. Okay, so you want it to be under 11 so when it cuts that it won't be too big. Okay, so the key to making this work is it needs to be, the letters need to overlap the top up here, and they need to overlap the bottom down here. Just a tiny bit where you can still read the letters. Then the next thing you want to do is highlight all of it and weld it all together. And then the last step you do is you do 1 more square and you unlock it and you make sure it's up in the corner as far as it'll go. So I just make sure that it's the same size all around. And it is. And then you want to make sure they're 2 different colors. It at least helps me visualize it a little bit easier. So I'm going to change this one to red, and I'll make this one the same. And the next thing you can do to add another little sweet touch to it is if you want to slice in maybe some hearts. Let me show you. So I'm going to take 2 hearts here, and I'm going to move them down here on my canvas. And I'm going to take them and I'm going to just angle them towards each other just a little bit here, and I'm going to duplicate the heart 1 more time and move it out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to take these 2, highlight it, oops, and then hit slice, and then I'm going to just erase these sections right here, and then I'm going to add this heart back here. And then I'm going to just take the arrow and make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and actually I'm going to weld this together. And then another thing you can do, so that the inside of the card says "Be Mine," you can type in whatever you would want. So I'm going to say Happy Valentine's Day. And then pick a font that you like. And then I'm going to pull this in here and make it a little wider. And bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to move, once I'm happy with my positioning, I'm going to move this one out of the way first. I'm going to highlight all of these and weld them together. And I'm going to move this one back and position it how I like. Highlight them again and then click slice. And then that is going to slice out that. So that will be the outside of the card. So when you're putting it together, if you print the inside red, and when you glue it together, the Happy Valentine's Day and the hearts are going to come through. And that is how you can make a very simple but very elegant pop-up card. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Okay, so today we're going to be making the Be Mine Valentine's Day card. So the first thing you want to do is click on Shapes and make a square. And I'm going to be using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so I'm going to make an 8.5, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller for each. It's about 10 3/4 and like 8 1/4 about. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add shapes, and I'm going to do the hexagon. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make kind of a clump of hexagons here to make it go quicker. So I'm just going to duplicate this and just move these around. And you can make them different sizes, you can make them however you want. Okay, and the other thing to make it easier is I'm going to make this, to see, is to make these yellow. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to duplicate it and kind of move these. Okay. And now I'm going to move these back over. Here, and I'll show you what to do with the corners here in a few minutes. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the word mine in all capitals, and I'm just gonna try to find something kind of chunky. And the important thing for this one is you want to hit flip horizontal. So you want that to be, if otherwise your card is actually going to open the wrong direction, which is one of the mistakes that I made. So you want to have that there, and then the next thing you do is click on Images and Free This Week and type in B, and I use this one, but you can feel free to use any B that you want. And I made that here. And then all you need to do is just kind of rearrange any of these if they need to be. Okay, and so the next thing you want to do is now we want to fill in the edges. So I'm going to just duplicate a couple more to whole pieces to kind of fill in. Okay, and then all you need to do is cut them in half to do the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take 2 over here, and then we can duplicate them as we need to. So you just make a square, and you can resize it, but then you just highlight that and hit slice, and that is going to cut it in half. And now you have half honeycombs. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and it will not work if there's anything behind it, so make sure you get rid of. You could also use that other piece too if you want. But now I'm going to do this part and slice, and now you have 2 halves of these. So you can fill these in on this edge, but that's how you can get the half pieces. Okay, and then the last thing that we need to do here is, after you're done filling these in to your liking, is we need to make little slits to put the insert paper in. So I'm going to just erase these. And how we do that, so I'm going to just go back to shapes, and I'm just going to make a square and make it small and angle that. And I'm going to try to get the same angle as the honeycomb. Okay, so you're going to want to duplicate these. So you want one for both sides, top and bottom, and you can adjust the angle how you need. And then if you paste those, you can just flip them also to go onto both sides. And then down here at the bottom, you need to make the bee mine just a little bit smaller and smooth that over to here. Okay, and once you're done with your honeycomb, play around with it, you know, make them as perfect as you want or imperfect as you want. Either way, it turns out amazing. So that once you have all of that positioned, then you want to slide this out. So you want to highlight everything and click weld. And then you can slide this back on. And then you highlight all of it again and hit slice. But before you do that, make sure everything is exactly the way you want it. And then hit slice. And then you can erase these too, here. And we are just about finished. So you want to do one more square, and I'm going to make this one yellow or goldish. And then I'm going to unlock it and make it the same size, so it would just kind of picture it being cut and fitting inside those little slits. And so making sure that it would fit inside the slits. And then there you go. All you need to do is put that on the side and you're ready to make this adorable bee mine card.